What if you needed to go down to one family car? I would need something that's as practical as my wife's 7-seat X5 whilst maintaining the excitement of my V12 Aston Martin. Today I think I may well have found the car. My name's Ben and welcome to DadCars. Doing a DadCars review in a V12 with all 4 of my children in the back. Ha ha! Now what we have here today is a bit of a unicorn. I mean, sure, they made hundreds of thousands of the 4th generation 7 Series, but not many of the range-topping V12s. And what we have here is an E65 760i, the short wheelbase variant. And something really special about this car is that it was spec'd to be debadged and de-chromed. So it's really subtle and understated, which I really like. In fact, the only piece of chrome I can spot on this car is this wonderful, traditionally sized front kidney grille here. Let's just take a moment to appreciate when BMWs weren't overly garish with their front grilles. So there's absolutely nothing externally which tells the world that this is a really special car. But let me show you. In order to see what a special car it is, you need to open up the door, and that's when you get your first indication. What it says down on the door sill there, V12. So it's not until you open up this bonnet to expose the mighty 6-litre V12. This thing puts out around 440 horsepower, a similar amount in pound-foot of torque, around 600 newton meters, I believe. And although this thing, curb weight is over 2 tons, this beast of a V12 will propel this car to 62 in around 5.5 seconds. Incredible. Okay, wait a second, Ben. Didn't you say that this could replace your wife's 7-seat X5? And for my next trick, let me show you the rear practicality. Because in the back of this car, we have the incredible 4-across Multimac, the same seat that we now have in the back of my wife's X5, meaning that I can carry all 4 of my children in the back of this car with my wife on the passenger side, complete with the Minimac rear-facing baby seat here. The great thing about these is even if you've got twins, you can have multiples of these going across the back here. And today, I'm going to be taking this car out for a drive with all 4 of my children on board. That reminds me, when's school pickup time? Can you let me out, sweetie? You're wondering, is it as practical boot-wise as the 7-seat X5 SUV? Well, I can fit in it. And you can also fit a double buggy in at the same time. And if you've got the 2 rear seats up in the back of a 7-seater, you'd struggle to even get this in. So this is more practical than a 7-seat SUV. Let's go for a drive, and to do that, I need to put the key in the dash like in the Aston Martin. Only this one, you can actually put it on a keychain, although it sort of dangles down and hits your leg, which is a bit strange. And the first thing you notice is the gear selector switch. I mean, it's where your indicator would be in a Japanese car. And you've actually got 4 stalks on this car. I've never driven a car with 4 stalks. So you've got your gear selector, your indicator, your cruise control, and your windscreen wiper control as well. It's a bit OTT, if you ask me, a bit too much. This car though, when it was released, was the most technically advanced car BMW have ever made. Hey girls, how cool is this? This car is the first car ever in the whole world to have a electronic parking brake.
Whoa.
What do you think of that? Is that exciting?
Yeah. Anyway, what does that mean?
Also, the first car in the world to have a 6-speed automatic transmission box as well. And girls, what you need to do with your sweetie wrappers is you need to put it in the sweetie bin. This car has a sweetie bin.
Well,
You see on the door behind me there,
oh,
look at that. That is a sweetie wrapper bin. How cool is that?
cool.
So when the executive CEO who bought this car back in 2006, when he was having his nice big chocolate bar, he would put the wrapper for that chocolate bar in that bin on the side of the door. Is that cool?
I accidentally put our biscuits in there.
That's okay. Yeah, you can put biscuits in there as well. That's what it's for. It's for like a treat bin. Look at the detail on this wood veneer. I wonder how much this car's owner paid to spec that wonderful detail in that wood there. And you can see that detail in all the little wooden sections in this car, even behind on the back of the driver and passenger seats. What do you think, girls? What do you think of the wood section?
Yeah, they're really cool.
They're really cool. And I tell you what, these climate control dials, oh, there's something so satisfying about the feel of them. You can keep your haptic buttons, you can keep your touchscreen climate controls, and you can shove them where the sun don't shine. Speaking of sun, girls, what is so annoying when you're in the car and the sun starts shining through the side window? What's annoying about that?
You get it in your eye.
You get it in your eyes, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to see something cool?
Yeah.
Are you ready? Watch this.
Watching.
What do you
Wow.
think? What do you think of that?
Cool.
Now that is a very good feature in a dad car. But girls, look at all the gadgets and gizmos in the front. Look, you watching? Can you see? Yeah? See that?
Whoa.
Is that cool? What's this?
What is it?
That's a little phone keypad.
Wow.
See that pop out? That's where Daddy's keeping his sweets. Look, there's another one there.
Can we have another sweetie?
Yeah, in a minute, definitely.
Oh, a little phone you can ring about. You don't need to have your phone.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Because again, look, because these buttons are physical, I can be, look, watching the road while I'm dialing the buttons. This headliner is beautifully stitched. It feels so special. And it all just feels high quality. Even this center console here, my wife's BMW, which is much newer than this car here, it squeaks and creaks when you lean on it, whereas this one just feels a lot more solid and higher quality. In 2006, this car and its spec was probably around £95,000. I mean, adjusting for inflation, I mean, that must be what? At least like 160, if not more now. Do you know how much you can buy these cars for second-hand today? Well, you'll struggle to get a short wheelbase one like this because I've never seen one for sale. But the long wheelbase cars, with the V12s, you can get them for around £10,000. Now that's some depreciation for you. Right, guys, do you want to see how fast it goes?
Yeah.
So look, we're coming up to a national speed limit here,
Double
okay?
tweet.
So are we ready? So what, we're going like 30, let's accelerate up to 60. What do you think, girls?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Yeah.
It's definitely got a bit of poke, hasn't it? Well, you'd expect with a V12 440 brake horsepower, wouldn't you? Now, I drove this on a motorway earlier on, and let me tell you, the pick up and go it's got when it's already travelling at speed is insane. If you say you're at 50 miles an hour and there's a slow moving car in front of you, so you move into the fast lane, plant your foot down, absolutely takes off. And it's something of this size, it is truly incredible. And something I was expecting with a huge luxury barge of a car like this was huge amounts of body roll. But it feels like it stays level. You know, when you sort of do some sharp turns, it stays level. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, this is far from a sports car. But its ability to keep itself level is very impressive. That's the good thing about the short wheelbase. They've got plenty of legroom back there, but I can still reach them. If it was a long wheelbase one, I think it's an extra 140 millimeters. And the reason I think everybody went for those is because statistically, tall people are more successful and thus earn more money. So the types of people that bought these cars were your Peter Jones types. You know, like your 6 foot whatevers. So yeah, they wanted the extra leg room because they were sat there. But what a lovely thing to be the chauffeur of, driving around in a V12. Now these seats, I suspect, are probably the comfiest seats I've ever sat in. I say suspect because I haven't actually been able to figure out how to use the controls. I think you need a degree to be able to understand how to use these controls. Look, I'll cut to a very quick clip of me explaining how these seat controls work. So there's 4 different sections of the seat that you can control at a time. And then you can do it by moving this forward and backwards. But not only that, also by up and down, and it does something different. And then twisting it does something different again. So there must be an infinite amount of adjustment possibilities with these seats. So it'll probably take you a good 20 minutes to get it how you want it, and then make sure you add it to the memory. Because you don't want to be doing that again, do you? And driving around in this like incognito, it's actually really nice. Because it was originally spec'd debadged, de-chromed. And because these cars kind of are an older looking design now, aren't they? I don't think anybody's going to look at this twice. And so nobody's going to know you've got that monstrous V12 under the bonnet. And there is something really nice about that. I like understated. And if you've seen the current 7 Series, you'll know it is the complete opposite to understated. It's absolutely screaming, look at me, and the front end of it looks like somebody in a wind tunnel. Ah! The only reason I can think of that why BMW would go down that styling route, maybe in a design meeting, the main action point was, how can we make it so that drug dealers don't drive 7 Series anymore? Because if you saw somebody with their hood up getting into a modern 7 Series that's screaming, look at me, you'd call the police instantly. Whereas driving around in this, I feel like I'm floating around like a ghost. I don't think anyone can see me. And I can't hear that V12 a lot from in here as well. I mean, I guess that's by design, you know, double glazed windows, all about refinement. But it'd be interesting to, when I watch back the drive-bys, how it sounds from the outside. So running cost, Ed, for a thing like this, it's not going to be cheap, is it? I mean, fuel is even worse than in my Aston Martin because of the extra weight of this thing, isn't it? So expect low teens, I would say. And when I was doing those drive-bys earlier, I could honestly see this digital fuel gauge going down. I could see the pixels evaporating as I was just accelerating up to 60 miles an hour. Insurance, I can't see the insurance on this being huge. I mean, for my Aston Martin, it's under £400 for me as a 34-year-old. Tax is going to be the full fat £630 or whatever. But I think all of that, I think you could live with. But what I think's perhaps stopping you from rushing to the classifieds to have a look at V12 7 Series is the reputation that these things have for reliability and maintenance costs. The only person I know who's actually owned one of these, other than this car's owner, is Jayemm. So I fired him a message yesterday and said I was doing one of these today. And I said to him, look, I've got a theory. Maybe if you buy it and then you just set aside 5 grand with the full expectation of spending that 5 grand in the first year, just add that to the purchase price, could you then get one of these and actually enjoy owning it? His response to me was in all caps, run away. Apparently he bought one for about £10,000, spent about £5,000 on trying to fix it, and then ended up selling it for a lot less than £10,000. So Jayemm doesn't recommend it, but why is there still a little voice in my head that's sort of thinking, yeah, but you know, if you buy right, get a special one, expect to pay a lot in maintenance, but factor that into the purchase price, could it be a wondrous thing to have? An example of the sort of things that go wrong with these cars is like this car, the automatic high beam headlights isn't working. It's basically a system where it detects you if you're in a really dark section of road and it puts your high beams on, but then when it detects an oncoming car, it switches them off again. And it doesn't work on this one, so you get a little warning light come up. And sure, you could spend circa £900 to fix that, or if it was me, I'll just switch the high beams on and off myself. But that's the thing, isn't it? Because this was such cutting edge technology, the most advanced BMW ever made when it was released. There's so much electrical gubbins, isn't there? Obviously a lot of people have written these cars off as old dinosaurs, things that the running costs are crippling, and you know, you can get the same performance out of something a bit more modern that's not going to cost you half as much to run. But this car is still ULEZ compliant. So I need to say a massive thank you to this car's owner, Minty, the first female petrol head to reach out to me and say, look, come and drive one of my cars. So thank you so much, Minty. She is the daughter of the founder, the creator of the Multimac. And I recently went up and met them, and I tell you, it was so lovely seeing father and daughter talking about cars with such passion. And I really hope that at least a couple of you girls in the back, you grow up to be cool like Minty and into your cars, so that you know we can share that passion together. And Minty has 3 cars. She's got a Boxster, an E-Class, and this. So it's kind of surplus to requirements really, but I think because it's such a special spec car this, and it's got that V12, you know, she just hasn't had the heart to sort of pass it on yet. And I can see why. It is a real treat. Look, I will be making a video all about the Multimac because it's such an incredible thing. Basically, you can fit 3 across in cars where you could otherwise only fit 2. Or you can fit 4 across in cars where otherwise fitting 3 child seats in is a squeeze. And it's really made the world of difference to us because now we've got a full-size boot in the X5 that we can use for the double buggies, bikes and all the rest of it. Oh, and in case you're wondering, you can fit a 4 across Multimac in the back of a 5 Series as well. An M5, now that would be a dad car, wouldn't it? So in summary then, for the BMW 760i, I mean, look, this is legitimately, like if you put my wife's BMW X5 and my V12 Aston Martin in a blender and you pulled out one car, this kind of does everything. 4 across, I could have my wife here. There's enough space in the footwell for my dog as well. And all the running and maintenance cost of this will likely be as much as the X5 and the Aston Martin combined. The purchase price is a fraction of either one of those cars. You know, you can get, admittedly, a long wheelbase, around £10,000. I think they're free for sale on Auto Trader at the time of recording this. And I guess worst case scenario of a car like this, say if you bought one with the intention to keep it for 1 year, you paid circa 10,000, you spent 5,000 on maintenance, and then you sold it for 5 grand. So it cost you 10 grand to have it. I mean, you'd always be able to say to yourself that you experienced owning a V12. And if that's the worst case scenario and it still seems appealing to you, then I say go for it. And hey, it might not be that bad. But look, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Please hit that bell icon, comment below, share this video. If there's somebody you think will enjoy it, an owners club or Facebook or something, please share the video. It means the world to me. And I'll see you on the next one. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Do you know the type of people that normally ride in the back of this car?
No.
VIPs.
VIP.
Yeah, VIPs. Very important people.
Oh.
But you 4 are VIPs, aren't you?
Hmm?
Very important. Pickles. And you know what pickles get? Tickles!